On the low, I don't talk a lot. You talk more shit than the beauty shop. We can get it poppin' like the parking lot. We can get it poppin' like the parking lot.
What up, what up, what up, people? It's your girl, Miss Phenom.
And it's your girl, Bonnie Stone, and you are now tuned into Question
the Culture. And we are back with a spicy episode for you, ladies and gentlemen. So get your poison and your pleasures, and let's get right into this because we got a lot of ground to cover. So first up, we're going to start with the honorable mentions, okay? And I'm going to start with being Black Restaurant Week. All right, November 13th to the 22nd in New York City, help local businesses who got shut down due to the pandemic. Go enjoy some African-American or Caribbean cuisines, and you can go to blackrestaurantweeks.com to find the restaurants that are signed up to participate. Enjoy. Next up, actress Lashana Lynch deleted her social media to cope with the backlash against being the first Black female 007. She, however, is not letting her haters get to her, as she knows this role will be revolutionary and groundbreaking, since we know every 007 has been a white brother, has been a white man. California passes Proposition 17, restoring the right to vote to felons on parole. It also allows parolees to run for office if they're registered to vote and haven't been convicted of perjury or bribery. The yes came in at 59%, while the no's was at a 41%. You a no?
That's them damn liberals. Go ahead.
So you're not with it for the parolees to be able to vote? If I make a mistake, I can't vote no more? You know what? And this is why. Moving on, Mike Tomlin, head coach for the Pittsburgh Steelers, is the first Black coach with 140 regular season wins. Hired in 2007, he has not had a losing season in Pittsburgh and led the Steelers to 2 Super Bowl appearances, winning the franchise 6th Super Bowl in 2009. LeBron James is partnering up with CNN to produce a documentary called Dreamland. It's centered around the Tulsa Race Massacre, known as the Black Wall Street. The area was destroyed in 1921, and it's about time that we saw this story in live and living color. So I'm excited for that.
I like that one. I'm excited about that. I'm excited about that too.
Yeah, right? Because like people don't talk about Black Wall Street. Like we was thriving out here on our.
They won't because that's how they want us. That's how they want us. White banks.
But that's what I'm saying. We don't know about our history. That's what keep moving like this. And speaking of white banks, Killer Mike, former Lansing Mayor Andrew Young, and Bounce TV Fire founder Ryan Glover launched a digital bank called Greenwood. They are here to support Black-owned businesses and financial institutions. It doesn't open up till January, but they've launched a website and received thousands of requests in the first 24 hours. What do you think about that, Stone?
That's dope.
That is, right? Because we start recreating our own communities. And
you know that's what I'm all about. I don't want to hear no fucking excuses. I don't want to revisit the past. I just want to move forward. You know what I mean? And that's the type of time I'm on.
Exactly. And Rick Ross is about that life too. Because he just dropped $1 million for 87 acres of land in Georgia. Ross opened up his current estate to the shooting of Coming to America 2, and it's possible that the new land is something he'll be using as rental space for rental homes. So not only is he making music, he's invested with his Wingstop franchise and other franchises like Checkers. He's buying that good old land. He ain't waiting for the 40 acres and a mule. He is taking it himself. And before anyone thinks, because it's Rick Ross, he don't gotta wait for his 40 acres and a mule. We've talked about everyday regular people joining forces to buy land. So people, we can do this. All of these honorable mentions have been all forms of us rebuilding and recreating that good old Black community for us and by us. And if we keep on this path, we can get there together, y'all. Let's do it. That's all I got, B-Stone.
That's dope. And to our hot topic. Topic is sex, 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 sex.
Hey. Let's talk about sex, baby. What you like?
So what's your thoughts on like sex phenom?
You know what's funny? I'm somebody that doesn't really talk about sex a lot.
You lie. Ew, you lie.
I am not. Look, you are my friend for 20 plus years. And you know that you always got to be like pulling like, son.
Okay, but you still talk about it though.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is I'm not like this.
You just need somebody to bring the freak out of you.
You know, I mean, I feel like sex is one of those things that people like to do and not discuss, and it's something that needs to discuss if you're ever gonna get like anything. Everything is better with communication. So I really was interested in opening up the grounds, today about, sex and, how we handle our bodies, how it health equates to it, a little bit of monogamy conversations. A lot of situations either break or get better because of sex. So it seems to be a very powerful thing.
And it's funny because I think people are really open about sex or people are really shy about sex. I never think that there's like a middle ground with people. Like, I know you, so I know, like, I could have those conversations with you. And you'll be
right.
transparent. But I feel like if we were if we were like a room full of people, you were gonna say nothing.
You're right.
Like, with me, I'm just kind of like an open book. I don't really care.
Yeah, you're right.
You are. So I think
we have somebody today that's gonna open those floodgates a little bit so that I could tap in and you could tap in and have our audience into let's talk about sex, baby. So, ladies and gentlemen, today we found an awesome sister who is a sexpert, and we are looking forward to hear what she has to say about sex and monogamy. And don't forget, feel free to drop all your questions and your comments at the bottom because she might be able to answer a couple of those for us later on in the show. Hello, Wendasha. Okay, thank you. I'm Miss Phenom.
And I'm Bonnie Stone. Nice meeting you.
Nice meeting you too.
And welcome you to Question the Culture. Mm-hmm. So we are going to jump right into it. We usually ask our guests if they have their poison or their pleasures. So if you're not or you're not, it's so good just letting you know what we do.
Gotcha.
Let the people know who you are because I want everyone to know, like, social media is an amazing platform. Mm-hmm. And I found you on Instagram and I looked up, your credentials and I was like, awesome. And I wanted a sister, come on here and, we don't always see, our own having these discussions or, so let the people know who you are.
Okay. So I am Dr. Wendasha Jenkins Hall, and I am the creative mind behind the Sensible Sexpert platform, which is on Instagram, also Facebook, and I have a website, thesensiblesexpert.com. And so basically what I do is I provide real, honest, relatable and accessible sexuality education to Black women and femmes. So I talk about a lot of different things that from the gamut. So of course I do your basic stuff like, STDs, HIV, all that stuff, but I talk about sexuality more broadly. So a lot of my stuff, of course, deals around relationships, actually the part of having sex, a lot of like sex positions type stuff, are just general questions people have about sex and relationships and love and things like that. So that's like my night job, I like to say, but my day job, I actually am a researcher. So during the day, I conduct research on Black women and femmes, sexual health, particularly around HIV/AIDS prevention. So that's kind of what I do.
Salute to you, Black Queen. We love it. We love to see the Black excellence. So
thank you.
We are just going to jump right into it. And before anyone says anything, fellas, I know it would have been great to have a brother on the platform speak y'all piece, but we're going to do our best to be as neutral as possible in this conversation, okay?
Yes.
I'm not making any promises. How are you?
I'm doing good. How y'all doing?
Good. Thanks for joining us.
Hello, Mr. DaLonzo Long. How you feeling? Welcome to
I'm
Question.
doing very good.
Now let's start off. That name, is that a made-up name or your actual name? Because it's befitting for your expertise. So we'll start off by saying that.
It's my actual name. My last name is Long. DaLonzo is my actual name also.
Okay. Well, we also, when we have our people come through, we like to let them know we are always poison or pleasures. So feel free to have a sip or do whatever you like to do while you out with us today.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Okay, for sure. Okay.
Give us a little background on yourself, you know, what you do, what your expertise is, and then we'll go into our conversation.
Okay, so I've had a page called For Black for Love. It's on Instagram. And I don't know, basically I'm just a supporter of Black love, you know, Black sex, Black male and female relationships, you know. So that's my area of expertise. I just think that sex is something that we all have in common. Everybody got here from sex, you know, so it's one of the few things that everybody walking the face of the planet Earth have in common.
So our conversation came from a clip that I saw where a married man was discussing his wife and, you know, I guess their sex life had fallen off a little bit. Mm-hmm. His question was, if it comes down to sex feeling like a chore for a woman, mm-hmm. why do you push men to be monogamous? Okay. That struck a chord like, wow, so is that a relevant or legit statement for a man to feel?
Okay. Okay. So I think we have to understand that sex changes as you age. Sex changes in relationships. So the way you're having sex when you possibly first meet, so those first months or years, especially when you don't have kids, is going to be totally different 5-10 years down the road when you have kids, you're both working full-time jobs, you're running a household. So you're not going to necessarily be having sex every single day of the week or all around the house or however you used to have sex before those things came into your life, right? So that's one thing that you have to understand. And when I also have to think about people's sexual needs and desires change also, right? So what did it for you at 21 is not going to necessarily do it for you at 31, at 41, at 51, right? So that's another aspect to it. So as far as feeling like sex is a chore for his wife, it should be a conversation that he has. So what is going on in their relationship? What is going on in her life that is causing her to not be interested in sex, right? So if she is the main caregiver of the kids, she's keeping up with their schedules, feeding them, running around with school activities, working a full-time job, doing all of those things, and he may not be as helpful. I'm not saying he's not, because I don't know his situation, but he may not be as helpful in that situation. Of course, after all that is said and done, at the end of the day, she probably not going to want to have sex because she's tired, right? So are you giving her a helping hand when it comes to that? Also, is sex a chore for her because of how he is having sex? Is he not fulfilling her sexually, right? So a lot of times when we're younger, especially as women, we put up with a lot more with sex versus when we get older, we start to discover our bodies a little bit more and know how we like to be pleased and touched and satisfied and things like that. So it could be possibly that he is not satisfying her sexually. So it's like, okay, whatever, let me go ahead and get this over and done with, or I just don't want to do it at all. So there could be a lot of different things going on. Like, is she sick?
When situations are going on like that and life is evolving, do you think that a man has the right to say, babe, well, let's readjust this monogamy situation because you're not even in the mood or want to? Do you think that's fair for a man to do?
Yeah, but good luck on making that fly, though. I mean, I think it's a fair stance for a man or a woman to have to a certain degree, but at the same time, it's like you got to, again, you have to know what you're getting into from the beginning. You know what I'm saying? Like it's unrealistic expectations to think that you're going to get in a relationship and this person is just going to put out whenever you need them to put out and when you want them to and whatnot.
People feel like that.
I don't know. Yeah, people feel like it. And I mean, I mean, it's actually a good thing because if a man is pushing that, then he's probably trying to make it to where he's not going to step out and deal with somebody else. So he wants you to provide him for that, for that sexual satisfaction. He wants that from his wife. So that, I mean, that's a good thing. But I don't know. You have what would happen in a perfect world, but then you have reality, and reality is if people aren't getting what they want at the house, they're going to get it somewhere else. You know what I'm saying? I realize that, and hopefully a woman will realize that too. You know what I'm saying? You got to at least do your best, try. You know what I'm saying? Like if you see that your man is a horn dog, and he wants to fuck all the time, then you need to damn put it out as much as possible. You know what I'm saying?
See, men don't understand the correlation of simple things that women need and how wet our coochie gets from that relationship. Men get comfortable, and we might need something to be fixed, or we might want the lawn mowed. Maybe we're tired and want you to cook. And men are always like, wait. But when it comes to sex, it's like, oh, you guys want it when you want it. And the whole point is, I think men underestimate how far the little things go in correlation to how we feel about putting out, even though we may not want to. We might go, okay, you know what? I'm going to take that extra step and do this because X, Y, and Z. I think men are very selfish in that manner.
Okay, so if you were horny and you wanted your man to put it out and he said, "Nah, I'm cool," how would you feel? So say he's taking out the trash, he's pumping gas, he's doing everything a man is supposed to do, and you're horny and you want to do something with him, and he's like, no, I'm cool, I'm all right, nah, I'm tired,
and he's cheating.
No, oh, wait, see.
See,
you better get that up. You better get it up. Because when I say put out, you gonna put out.
So if a man has that same mentality,
our sex drive is not
then
the same. Our sex drive, men are microwaves, women are ovens. Pause. Men are microwaves, women are ovens. We take a little longer to get turned on than men do. Can we be clear about that?
Yeah, okay. I agree with that.
Right. So with that being
That's
said,
true.
if I tell you I want some, you better put out.
What I'm saying is it's a two-way street. So some of these men might be ovens. You never know. But I think that sometimes women put all men into the same box where, all men are just horn dogs, where some men aren't. Some men really have standards. They have priorities, things that they're focused on. You know what I'm saying? So where sex isn't something that just blows their mind and they're just, and I think that also is with older men, I think when men hit their 40s also, sex isn't something that just blows their mind because they've done it so many times that it's other things where you got to kind of get an older man's mind. You got to, just like how a woman, you have to stimulate her mind to get that coochie wet. Older men with their priorities straight, you have to, stimulate their mind to get their dick hard, And I think some women don't understand that. I think some women think that just all men are just horn dogs and we just walking around with our dicks out.
But we also have to change the narrative because we're making it seem like it's only women who don't have sex or who stop having sex.
Right.
So you have men who also do this. So we like to paint men as being the ones who always want sex and women as the ones who don't want sex. But there are lots of men who they go through these spells of, not wanting sex. If he's going through something that, like, so say he's going through something on his job, or he feels like he's not at a place where he wants to be, or he may be having some mental health issues, as a lot of men, because of how we view masculinity, may not go seek help. Your sex drive will decline also, right? So we can't just make it seem like, okay, yeah, it's just men go through these things also.
What would you say to a couple who may be in a space where, the woman is struggling, or the man, trying to find a way to reconnect with their spouse because of outside influences? Like, they acknowledge the outside influences are there, whatever they may be, but they just don't know how to get back on track. What are some ideas or suggestions we can give them?
Okay, so before you even get in the bedroom, it's important to reestablish intimacy. So a lot of people equate intimacy with just having sex, and that's not sex and intimacy are not one and the same, because you can have sex with somebody and not necessarily be intimate with them.
Exactly.
And so, and a lot of times, that's why you hear people always, like, a lot of times talk about, oh, what is your partner's love language or things like that. So really getting to the root of, okay, so what is going on in your partner's life, having that conversation, asking, just really having real conversations, asking, how is their day going? How is their life going? Like, is there something that I'm doing that can better help you, like, throughout the day? And if you have that partner who loves gifts, you know, buying those gifts, acts of service, which tends to be an issue in some households. So you have, like, in traditional households where the mother or the woman may be doing all the child rearing and cleaning and things like that, and it gets overwhelming. Your wife's love language may be act of service. So it's like, okay, I'm gonna do the dishes tonight, or I'm gonna bathe the kids tonight while you go take a shower and relax and
That is a
get
sure way to
yourself
drop the
ready.
draws.
And yeah, so stuff like that. So so that's one. Our words of affirmation are really being affirming to your partner, saying, hey, I see you, I appreciate you, thank you for doing,
Yeah,
what
I
you do
don't
for our family. So that's,
You say you don't like that, or you don't get
I don't
it?
need that. I don't need that.
but some people do,
Do them
some
dishes.
people
I want
Do them
affirmation.
dishes.
I need you to acknowledge that you see me, boo.
Do
Yeah.
them dishes. You know what I mean?
Because a lot of times, like, when you're feeling overwhelmed in relationships, it's kind of like you get not because you ask not. So a lot of times we assume that our partners know what we're going through, or we assume that they should just know what to do and not say anything. But when we're more vocal, things are more likely to get done. So just really establishing that intimacy within the relationship
And communication.
and more
Verbal.
communication.
He didn't want to just go out and cheat.
and
It
then
sounded like he wanted her to be like, let's agree that we
Mhm.
the same page sexually, and that you're okay with me handling my needs elsewhere.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So you have ethical non-monogamy. However, that is entered into a situation where both people have to agree to that. And it's not something that people should agree with just because they feel like that it's going to satisfy their partner, right? So we have to understand what his desire actually is coming from, because if he was being satisfied sexually, he wouldn't be thinking about, I'm assuming he wouldn't even be thinking about it, or he probably already is and probably is using this as an excuse, right, to bring up the topic. But ethical non-monogamy is basically when people are together and they agree to be non-monogamous, and there are different rules and boundaries around how they set that up. So you have couples who are swingers, where they go out and they do that together. Couples who may engage in polyamory, so you can be married and your wife or whoever can have a girlfriend and a boyfriend, or your husband can have a boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever he wants, but there's still boundaries around that, right? So there's still rules in place. It's not just, okay, you go out and have sex with whoever you want to go out and have sex with. I go out and have sex with whoever I want to have sex with, because of course you got other things to think about when you're having sex with multiple people and things that could come up. And people have rules about the type of sex that you can have. So it's a lot of boundaries around ethical non-monogamy, but people who enter into those relationships is something that's agreed upon by both people. It's not, oh, you're not fulfilling me sexually, can I go sleep with somebody else? So that means there's something else going on with that,
So what do you think about opening up that Pandora's box? Do you think there's always consequences to inviting others into the bedroom with your significant other? Or do you think if you're two mature adults that it can go smooth as a new silk sheets? You know what I'm saying? Hey, you guys just experience something to create a new world for you guys to come together? Or do you think that inviting others into your relationship is a slippery slope every time?
It's a
Miss
slippery slope
Phenom's asking
people-
because Miss Phenom's a swinger, in case you were wondering. So she wants to know people's opinions.
No, don't. Yo, he's believing everything you say.
Well, if you're a swinger, then you already know what time it is. But the thing is, most people aren't players like that. You know what I'm saying? Like,
it sounds good.
It sounds good. Every time I've been in a threesome, I've doubled back on the other person and we messed around on the side.
That's what I believe.
But it's happened every time. It's like clockwork, but I've never done that in a relationship with my wife. You know what I'm saying? So the only way I would do that in a relationship with somebody that I really, really cared about is if we already on the same page. Like, look, we have an open relationship, or we're swingers. Yeah, we're swingers, and this is how we get down. If you guys are not swingers, don't go into that
Don't play
area.
with that.
Don't have a threesome if it's just something that you just doing just because you think it's the cool thing to do. You guys really have to be about that life. Like, you really have to be about that life. If you really about that life, then do it. If you just dabbling in it, don't play with it.
Don't play with it.
Don't play with it. Yeah. Unless you're gonna do something like a weekend in Vegas and you all find some high price hooker and you guys have a threesome like that.
Do you think it's better for a man to cheat on his significant other with a prostitute or somebody like that he meets and actively goes out and like gains a relationship with? If he chooses like one person to continue to have sex with, or like a bunch of different random prostitutes?
Well, yeah, I hear what you're saying. I understand your question, and I think that it's more of a stab in the back if you got something ongoing, like you just.
But what if you have an ongoing relationship with prostitutes?
But you're switching it up every time. Switching it up every time.
You don't know, he could be recurrent the same woman sometimes.
Well, if he got feelings, he gonna get feelings. There's no way,
Right.
and y'all two can tell me if I'm wrong. There's no way you can sleep with the same person on a consistent basis and not gather any type of feelings.
Well, if you ain't talking.
It's eventually. The first month you may not talk. The first month it may be all good, and then randomly you just gonna be like, "So what do you like to do after this?" Now the shit starts, and now you're in a fucking relationship with a prostitute too. Okay?
Yeah. Well,
you can't sleep with the same person consistently and nothing happens.
Okay, so let me ask you guys this. I have a theory. Everybody cheats. Everybody cheats.
I do. I think all men do.
All people do. All humans do, and it's just a matter of what makes a person cheat. Does a person that you're with, what would make them cheat? Is it they're addicted to sex? Is it that if you're not emotionally supporting them, then they'll cheat on you? Is it that if you hurt?
What if they're doing everything right and you just have no?
Are you only talking physically though? That's
right.
No, not just physically. I mean, emotionally cheating also.
Oh, then yes, everybody cheats.
Everybody cheats.
Yes.
I mean, but that's human nature, though, because you're going to connect with other people.
Yeah, you're built to create relationships, to connect with people. But there's also boundaries and respect. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Exactly. Respect plays a huge part in this. When you really love somebody and respect them, it's hard for me to go out, fuck somebody, come home, look my wife in her face, and just act like nothing happened, and then to keep doing that over and over and over and over. So that's what I'm saying. To answer your question, I think it's worse to have a side chick that you hitting all the damn time. You guys just got this ongoing thing. Than if you hit a prostitute once and you strapped up, you hit the prostitute, maybe you're horny or something or whatever. I think it's worse to have a person on the side with an ongoing situation. I think that's corny as hell. That's corny as hell in my opinion.
The same.
Like,
do you think that relationships should give space to be more open-minded about redefining what was good for them in the beginning? Saying, babe, in the beginning we were on the same page, so let's do, we were good to go. You got these things going on. I'm still in the same place. I didn't change, but you did. Maybe we need to redefine. Or do you think when you decide that you're going to get into a relationship, you have to understand it's going to come with some sacrifices, and put your big man drawers on and say, this is a part of the process. There's going to be inflows of our sexuality. It doesn't mean we have to constantly change our sexual relations based on life.
So when you're in a long-term relationship, whether you're going to be like a long-term partnership, you want to get married, domestic partnership, or however you want to define that, you're going to constantly be redefining your relationship. So what you did in year 1 or year 2 is not going to work all the time for year 10, 20, 30, depending on how long you are together. So you're constantly redefining your relationship. You're constantly reevaluating your relationship to see if it's actually fitting your needs. And in the situation of wanting to introduce like, hey, like to say that, okay, you changed, but I haven't, 9 out of 10 false, right? So nobody really stays the same because you're supposed to be growing in a relationship. So if you are still the same person and you see that your partner has gone on and they changed or whatever, there's a disconnect already, right?
Mhm.
Why do you feel like you have not changed, but they have? So you're possibly seeing something in them, but you're not seeing something in yourself, right?
Mm.
So it's easy to say, it's easy to point the finger, right? And so when people start off in relationships, especially if you start off the relationship monogamous, you are saying to that person, you are the person that I want to be with. You are going to be my only sexual and romantic partner. And people agree to those terms right from the outset, depending on how you define, right? And if you want to change that, there has to be a conversation with your with whoever you're with, husband, wife, or whatnot. And if they don't agree to that, then you have to reevaluate whether that this is a relationship you want to stay in or if you want to move on to something else, right? So it's something that has to be negotiated, because if it's something saying, okay, yeah, I'm a working woman, I'm a mother, I'm doing all of these different things, and I can't fulfill you sexually, and I know you want sex, so you can go out and have
Yeah,
sex
sounds like a
whenever you
bunch of
want to.
excuses, right?
It's
Drop them drawers and stop. The laundry can wait.
Okay, so Bonnie is like, no, you need to just handle your business. So she's actually sounding like you're more on the traditional, like, no, it don't matter. You got to just make sure your man's taken care of.
So
or get him a prostitute.
Well, I wouldn't necessarily say get a sex worker if that's not what you want to do. But if that's something that you work out in your relationship,
I just feel
fine.
But I'm more of a person like, yes, we all evolve, but you're not going to come into this relationship talking about you got millions and millions of dollars and now your shit is dwindling away. You need to still go and get that money. So even like with sex, I feel like if that's the expectation, then that's something that needs to be fulfilled.
But you don't think expectations change in relationships?
So the expectation could change, but we also got to understand what is
but it's your job as somebody's wife or husband to satisfy your spouse's needs.
So, but we have to think about it like this: what is the expectation? So, if you started off having sex every day of the week, that's not going to be sustainable, right? So you can't.
No, not at all.
Yeah. So it depends on what that expectation is or what the expectation was, right?
Well, you know what? I get that because like I even saw something with what's the Tia and Tamara twins? I don't remember which one it was, and she was saying that her and her husband were going weeks without sex, so they decided at least once a week, to do something. So I feel like, there are some women who will go and be like, oh no, I'm not doing it, I'm tired. And this will go on for a while. That's not okay. You know what I mean? It's your job as somebody's wife to make time to make sure that happens and that you're satisfying your partner.
You can go weeks without having sex. You can. And that happens in relationships. That's practically normal. Like that really is normal, especially. So say somebody think about it. You have a child. How long are you supposed to not be having sex after you have a baby? 6 weeks, right?
Supposedly.
So that's why the doctor is mad when you come back pregnant, because it's like, yo, that's a health that you know what I'm saying? So I'm not saying people don't do it, but they do it. But it's like basically it's the time that some people use to heal, and
of course
your hormones go down, so your libido is going to be down. So you should not be forcing yourself to have sex. If you're sick, if you're going through some type of depression, you need to work on that also.
Right.
So there are different things that go on in people's lives, but when people find that they're going through these spells, they'll be like, okay, we haven't had sex in a while. And then what they'll tend to start doing is just scheduling sex. So they'll say, okay, every Thursday, Wednesday, or whatever you want to say, is going to be date night. And then you will put it in your head to have sex. Now you can schedule it. Is it going to happen every single week? Sometimes it won't, depending on what happens. But when it's on the schedule, you can know that that's a time that you both have together to have sex.
I think it's very easy to get caught up in that mom, wife, worker, trying to find the balance for myself. It's very easy to get caught up in that. But what you have to realize is when you make that commitment to be with somebody, you have to make time for these things and make time for what your partner wants. You know what I mean? So,
But do you feel like the partner should also be understanding of the other person's body and saying,
oh, absolutely.
but I also understand this person is a human, whether it's the man or the woman, and say that I know what our expectations were. I know what our conversations were, but I get life and I'm going to give this person the space to figure what they need to figure out if something's going on.
Of course. And I also agree with Wendasha in the messaging where, you know, we do have to find out what's going on with the person. Because I do think a lot of times men, they don't want to resolve the issue that they have with their woman. And then they go seeking somewhere else. So it's like, oh, well, you're not giving it to me, so I'm going to go somewhere else. It's bullshit. You know what I mean? But at the same token, there are women out there, or and like we said, men or women, mainly women, I feel like, that let their day-to-day get to them. And then it's like the man is kind of neglected, and you have to be mindful of that.
But we have to ask why are the women letting the day-to-day get to them? Right?
Exactly.
So that's something you have to think about also, because even when we think about, okay, whatever's going on, right? Mm-hmm. If your husband is not helping, he may be hindering.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And even if you do have sex, it can become a chore.
Right.
So you don't want that. You know, it's kind of a balance that you have to find.
So that's sometimes it sounds like when people have these conversations, like there's so much more to me, because like I'm not mad at sex, but I'm a very, you know, mentally stimulated person. So the conversation, the experiences, the intimacy that is not involved with sex, those things are highly important. And I feel like sometimes we focus on if you're not fulfilling my needs sexually, then, you know, your job is not being done. And it's like, well, is this person talking to you? Is this person spending quality time with you? Are you sharing those intimate moments? Are you guys appreciating those intimate moments? And I feel like we don't discuss that part of the non-sex of that being important, you know?
Yeah. So like I said, that's when basically that's when the planning of sex come in. So you make time for it. You plan it, how many every days you want to do. You know, you plan it. So on top of that planning, also discussing things that you are into sexually now, right? So if you're like, okay, you're normally doing the same positions, like, okay, you're on top, I'm on top, doggy style or whatever. But if you want to try a new position, or if you want to bring toys into the bedroom, let people know what you like speak up and be vocal during sex. Or don't spring nothing new on a person in the middle of sex. I would never suggest that. So if you're a person like, hey, I want to try pegging in the middle of sex.
Excuse me?
Pegging?
The fuck is pegging? Okay.
So the way you just said it, like, excuse me. So pegging is typically, I'm surprised I haven't heard about it, but when we talk about pegging, typically we're talking about women who have male sexual partners who like to have anal sex with their male sexual partners, like, so whether they put a dildo up there, sex toy or whatnot. So
the man likes to get it done to them.
Yeah, so you're penetrating your partner anally. But
now, do you know about this thing called pegging that we found out about?
I've heard about that.
We all know that the orgasmic spot in a man is the anus. So,
I mean, they say it's one back there. Yeah, it's one of them. That's not the only one, though.
Okay, there's one back there, but what I'm saying is, it's not that far-fetched that a man may want to feel that orgasm because it's that erogenous zone.
If your man asks you to stick something up his ass, are you going to do it?
Is it a finger or is it
a finger? Anything? A pinky, a toenail, a bottle, a pen? Are you going to do it? It's an honest answer. Okay.
She got quiet.
That's fine. I'll take your silence as a yes. If my man asked me to stick anything in his ass, I don't want to do any ass play.
He might just be kinky as hell. He could be straight as an arrow. He's just kinky. He
Yeah,
probably
he's
wouldn't want
freaky.
no dude
Yeah, that's a
messing with
level
his
of
ass.
freak.
And
I
he just
can't.
wants.
I can't engage in that.
See, and that
But
was a
there's so
level
many
of
more
freak.
levels than that. That's a low level of freak. You know how
That and
freaky shit gets beyond that? That's
Oh,
nothing.
I know. That's just a level that I don't want to touch.
but see, the fingers, I may not be alarmed by, but the dildo, I'm alarmed by.
Then you're alarmed by it, right?
So it's levels. Like she's like, it don't
It
matter
is
what
levels.
it is, she's alarmed. For me, I'm like, I can deal with this level of freak, but now we here, not for me.
Right.
You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So I guess it's just your tolerance, like the green, yellow, red list.
A green, yellow, red list. That's what some couples do. It's like, okay, these green items, this is stuff that's good to go. This is what we agree on. This is what I like. Let's do it. Those yellow items, like, okay, pause. Let's talk about these things, and then let's see if we really want to do it. And your red items, like, hell no, I'm not doing that. You know what I'm saying? So
What's on your red item list, Bonnie?
Red, not much.
are you a person who likes to be tied up? Like, you can't just spring that up on somebody. Like, oh yeah. And there are different levels of bondage, right? I have friends who are really
50 shades, baby, 50 shades.
They're really into shibari, so they really
Okay,
like
stop.
to be
Shibari.
Stop.
Yeah.
What's shibari?
So
That's somebody's name.
So it's the Japanese art of rope bondage, and it's looked at.
Ooh, that sounds sexy.
As it's an art form, and it's very intricate knots. Some people like to so it depends on, like, you can restrain the legs, the arms. Some people are suspended, so they'll be tied up and hanging from the ceiling or whatnot, or suspended. So, but it's a art form, but everybody's not comfortable with that, right? So you have to.
That sounds amazing.
I'm sensing Janet Jackson vibes.
Yes,
tie me up, tie me down.
So yeah, but different things.
Well,
so
that comes with a very yeah, a lot of
that takes trust. And depending on where you at in your relationship, you may not trust that person to tie you up, right? So you just have to really communicate, but set those boundaries and say, okay, this is what I like, this is what I don't like.
I got one more question.
Okay.
If the sex is not good for you, do you have that conversation in bed or out of bed? Like, you guys telling me, I was having a conversation and they were like, don't talk about sex while you're in bed. They were like, conversation about sex should happen completely removed from the bedroom. And
yes, I agree with that. I agree.
You agree with that?
Don't have sex and then roll over and say the sex was whack, because that means that you contributed to that whack sex, because why didn't you say nothing while it was happening? So I would say that if the sex was whack, you need to have a conversation outside of that, because what can happen, a person could get defensive and be like, well, your shit was whack too. Like, and then before you know it, it's just you going back and forth about who was the wackest, right? And so you can have those conversations. I would have those conversations outside, and then I would not try to have it in a way where I'm coming at the person attacking.
Like blaming,
I'm blaming them.
Be like, how did you feel about last night? Well, this is what I kind of thought, and what do you think about doing it this way?
So that's what you can do. So you can give them a compliment. Oh, I like when you do this. However, I would like to change it up when you do A, B, C, or D. Right?
Yeah, I'm a great communicator.
Or even if you
may need to help with that part.
Yeah, and so when you're having sex, you could course correct when you're having sex. So if a person is not,
I'd be like, this shit is whack. Turn around.
So if you getting head and they're not really licking you in that right spot, tell them, hey, can you lick me?
Go to the top.
Can you touch me here? Or I'm gonna show you where I want to be touched, or be more give more direction, right? Because I think a lot of times we just lay down and expect people to know how to please us, and that is not.
I don't.
So everybody's had different partners,
I think I do, yeah.
Miss Phenom does. She is a stickler for expectations. I be telling her, I'm like, you got to let these mofos know what you want.
You have to, because
to the left.
Because what they did for one partner and probably worked for one partner is not going to necessarily work for you because you're totally different. But we also have to understand that we probably sometimes aren't pleasing them sexually. So they probably had a person who was just deep throating them, spinning around in a circle, but you are barely going down on the tip, right? And if they don't let you know that, you will sit here and think that you're giving bum head. But
Yeah, and I would be upset about that if I
you
felt.
know. And so a lot of times people don't say nothing because they don't want to hurt a person's feelings, but there are just ways to go about talking about it where people won't get
Like
Do you
porn.
guys really think that porn is the teacher for sex?
I don't really like porn. I may be an opinion, but I don't like watching it.
So then where do you learn your new moves from? If you're not into porn, then and you're into the Kama Sutra, read the Kama Sutra. Learn how to satisfy your significant other. You know what I'm saying? Some people are selfish, sexually selfish. You know what I'm saying? I'm not a sexually selfish person. I'm gonna go above and beyond to satisfy my partner. But I don't think everybody thinks like that. You know, you have to learn your partner. Work out. Eat right. Keep your energy up. You know what I'm saying? Learn. You got to put energy into it. If you just think that it's just going to handle itself, then it's not.
Your pleasure comes first, so you prioritize that. And then, of course, while prioritizing your pleasure, you want your partner to feel good at the same time, right? So that's really what it's about. I don't think you going into sex should be, oh, my goal is to please my partner, like it's all about them. Because when you do that, whether you're single or married, then you're not going to be focusing on getting what you need to get, right? It's going to be, oh, they achieved what they wanted to achieve. They felt good.
And
so
that's
I did
when
my
it can
job.
become a chore.
Yeah, that's when it becomes a chore. And so then it's like, okay, they did what they did. They were satisfied. But at the end of the day, you're left sitting there like, okay, but I still didn't get that orgasm I wanted. I still didn't get to do it in this position that I wanted because I'm always doing what they want to do, right? Instead of speaking.
But it starts with knowing what you want. Can a man be so in love with the woman that he's with that sex, something that was so important to him, can diminish in importance because of the love he has for this woman?
Yeah, hell yeah. This one young lady out when I was living in Las Vegas, and like we were tight, we were real cool, but she ended up getting cancer, and she had to get chemotherapy. You know what I'm saying? And that chemotherapy made it to where, I mean, not only did her hair and shit fall out, but her sex drive went completely down to pretty much non-existent. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, that was like a close friend of mine. You know what I'm saying? So I didn't come down on her because of it. I understood what the situation was. You know what I'm saying?
But the love was deeper than that.
Right. And I stuck with her that whole time when she went
through
through
the culture. Great conversation.
it.
We would love to have you back.
I like you guys' energy. I appreciate you guys inviting me on your show. I definitely want to chop it up with you guys again. Just let me know.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely, for sure. We appreciate you. Thank you. Be safe.
Okay. All right. Bye, y'all.
Bye.
Bye.
B Stone, any other questions? I think I got my questions answered.
I'm not with you today. No, I think we're good.
Okay.
I appreciate you. And,
yes, Wendasha, you are amazing.
For sure.
Thank you for taking the time out. But let the people once again know where they can find you, the services that you provide, your website and everything. Let the people know.
Okay, so you can follow me on Instagram at The Sensible Sexpert. You can also find me on Facebook, also at The Sensible Sexpert. I go to my website, thesensiblesexpert.com, and I offer one-on-one sessions. So people want to talk to me about anything specific. I see individuals and couples. So they can book a session with me on my website.
And with COVID and everything, is it in person or do you do the?
So we do Zoom. So yeah,
okay.
I can't do.
So you can get anybody anywhere in the world.
Anybody anywhere can reach me. Don't have to worry about COVID. You don't have to wear a mask. You know. So yeah, hit me up and we can go from there.
Thank you again, Wendasha, and
No problem.
great evening.
So that was a dope guest we had this week. I appreciate all the info. But we're going to move into our shameless plugs. And this week, I'm going to be shameless plugging myself with my new album out, my third album this year called Explicit Truths. Available on my website, www.springfieldbeastone.com. Also, you can find it on all digital streaming platforms. That's your Tidal, that's your Spotify, that's your Apple Music, that's your iTunes. What else? I don't fucking know. Go get it, stream it.
SoundCloud, all that?
Everything. Can't
Everything.
miss Explicit Truths, produced solely by Danny Caiazzo. What y'all talking about if y'all ain't talking about explicit truths? Let's go.
Well, if they ain't talking about explicit truth, there's only one other thing they should be talking about, and that is Miss Phenome's book, Get Out of My Head. You feel me? Oh, my triple OG out here, yo. My homie got me. Nah, but I got some projects in the work, but I won't neglect my first baby that I did December 25th. I put this out to the world, and Christmas is about to come around in a month or so. So it's about to be a 1-year anniversary of my baby. So if you don't got Get Out of My Head, you need to get it, because I got some more projects coming in the way. So I need y'all to catch up with me. You feel me? You can get it on Amazon.com, and $9.99. It'll be fine for your reading skills. Put it up in your library. You feel me? It's an awesome book of poetry, and it's pretty dope. So check it out.
It's dope.
Yes.
Hey, yo, Miss Pheno, take them out.
Yo, at the end of the day, talk to your peoples about the sex. Make sure it ain't whack. Make sure y'all on the same page. Learn each other's love languages. And remember, sex is not just about sex. It's also about the intimacy. So also get to know your partner here and here. You feel me? Because you know the love is free. The trust and loyalty is earned. So protect your energy, people. Peace.
Yeah.
What do you think the reason is why men are with women for a long time and then never ask them to be? What do you think the reason is behind it? Maturity. Making me like, roundabout situation.
It's probably different reasons for different people. I don't know if people are scared of commitment, or maybe they just feel like they don't need to.
I feel like it's convenience. I feel like it's convenience. And
it should be convenient.
It's convenient, and he's not afraid to lose it. Because the same man that didn't try to hold her down for 10 years will get with a woman and in 2 be married to her. You better off telling me I'd rather commit to you, and you know what? Fuck these doing this marriage shit on paper, because I don't feel like dealing with the financial issues. I don't feel like dealing. I'll take that better than you trying to tell me you ain't ready for commitment after 10 years. The personalities where people may be comfortable in 10-year relationships, and like you said, there could be many reasons why a couple, not one person, it's different when one person want it and one person don't, and a couple has said he like it how it is. So if you in a relationship and you like it how it is, don't let society pressure you or what you're doing.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Don't give away everything, you know what I'm saying? Give a reason a man marry you and all this stuff. So is there a different criteria as a girlfriend to please the man sexually?
She's trying to be his wife, because you applying for that job. And he should be doing everything that a husband should do.
Okay. Well, oftentimes women will say, well, I'm not doing that because I'm not married. And it's just like, no, do it. That's what's going to make him want to marry you. Why are you holding back something when you want to marry this man anyways? So what are you holding back essentially but your pride? And that's just how I feel about it.
Yeah. I would say that a woman just blindly doing the duties of a wife that probably won't benefit. She needs to let that man know, look, the only reason I'm doing this shit is because my ultimate goal is to be your fucking wife. That's the only reason why I'm washing your drawers. So don't think that I just do this for every dude, so you got to be on the same page with that person and let them know,
Let him know ladies, why you washing his dirty drawers. Not because you just want to, because there's an end goal.
Right.
Because then he thinking I can just have her as my girlfriend forever, and this is how she gonna treat me.
Mhm.